Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel, I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to get out of debt and simplify our financial life. If that sounds like content that interests you, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. We crossed over 1,000 subscribers and I am so grateful to all of you for following along on my channel here. And with that said, let's get into today's video. Okay, so today's weekly check-in is going to be a little bit different than my usual one. I feel like I usually just kind of breeze through them because I'm taking for granted the fact that there may be people watching who are new to cash stuffing. Even though I'm new to cash stuffing, I forget that, there could be people who are watching this who are even newer than me and maybe want a little bit more of an in-depth explanation about what I'm doing. So actually to that point, or to that end, what's the correct idiom there? I think it's to that end. Anyway, either way, the lovely Alicia, who is a subscriber here and also follows me over on Instagram, sent me a message and asked me if I could go into a little bit more of an in-depth explanation for my weekly check-in and like how I'm paying the bank back and kind of what all of that means. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's why I have a completely empty sheet here, an empty expense tracker, instead of going back and writing on the one that I already had, because I wanted just kind of a clean slate so that I could go into detail and there wasn't anything on here previous that would maybe confuse or just look messy. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and get y'all zoomed in and then we can get down into the weekly check-in. Okay, so this, I swear, is where I always end up going out of frame and stuff. So I'm going to try really hard to make sure that I'm in frame and I don't get so stuck into doing this that I'm like, ignoring the fact that it is helpful when you guys can see what I'm doing. So let me just go ahead and put March up here really quickly. And then I'm just going to jump into, before I actually write down the expenses that happened over the last week, I'm going to define some terminology that we use a lot in the budgeting community that may be new information. I'm just going to treat it as if a person is brand new to banking, finance, budgeting, etc. So the reason why, I don't know how much of a budget nerd you are. I'm for sure, I have become such a budget nerd since we started doing this. And my husband and I have budget meetings with each other a couple times a week. Not that they're really necessary at this point, but we are somewhat obsessive about making sure that we're tracking everything, nothing is going unattended, and that all of the money that we are planning for categories is ending up where it belongs. So because of that, I have a budget binder or a budget planner. I think I've explained this before, but I have a budget planner that we track diligently. Now, the way that my husband and I do it is because we're not 100% cash stuffers. We do a lot of our stuff, not a lot of our stuff. I would say we're probably 70-30 at this point, 70% cash pulled and 30% online or just digital spending. So that is where we believe the intense need for due diligence comes in, because we've got money trading hands in a variety of different ways. And some things are just 100% digital, which makes it super easy, because if I go buy gas, for example, we keep our gas money in our bank account exclusively because I use the Upside app, which I've mentioned here before, that gets you cash back on gas purchases. I'm not trying to like sell this so that you'll go to my referral. I'm just explaining it because it's a family expense that never gets cash pooled, and the tracking of it as a result of that is super duper easy. If you are interested in signing up for Upside using my referral or not using my referral, all of the information is in the description bar. But we love it. And because it tracks your debit card purchase, you have to purchase it with a debit or a credit card. That is an expense that we just never cash pool for. Now, on the other hand, there are expenses that we do cash pool for that sometimes we pay cash and sometimes we pay with our debit card. It just depends on where we are in the day. If it was a planned expense, I can't really think of another reason why, it would depend whether it was debit or credit. But because it is an expense or a purchase that I make, like I'm the person who, in our family, I'm the person who does all of the grocery shopping and therefore all of the toiletry purchasing, the household good purchasing. I'm responsible. That's my responsibility. That falls into my wheelhouse. And so we cash pool for groceries, toiletries, and household items, even though sometimes we pay for those things cash and sometimes we pay for those things with our debit card. And we do that because I like to be able to track everything that I'm touching. So if it's an expense that I am making, so if it's a purchase that I'm going to be making, I like to cash pool for it because I have to know how much is left over for me to spend in those categories because I'm the person buying those things. I hope that makes sense. So with all of that being said, most cash budgeters, cash stuffers, like I've never heard of somebody who in this community yet, I've not come across an account of somebody who just pays cash exclusively for everything. I don't even think that's realistic in this day and age. Like I don't think that's even possible because I think that there are some places that just don't even take cash anymore. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just saying. So a lot of times what cash stuffers, cash budgeters will do is have something in their account called a buffer. Now, this buffer is money that you keep in your debit account, your checking account, specifically to cover purchases that you make with your debit card, but you actually cash pool for them. So what do I mean by that? I mean, I cash pool all of the money that we earmark for household goods. So we give, let's just say $50 a month toward our household goods. And let's say I went to the bank or I went to Target, and actually this is a very realistic occurrence in our life. So I will go to Target, and because I have the Target Red card, I will make a household goods purchase using my Target Red card. It's a debit card that links to my checking account. And so it's not a credit card. I am not an advocate for, especially if you're in debt and you're new to cash budgeting and cash stuffing, like don't even play the game of, oh, I'll just buy it on my credit card and then pay myself back. That's like a very slippery slope in my personal opinion, because what if you forget? What if you're not diligent with your tracking? I mean, you should be. I highly recommend that you are regularly interacting with your checking account, making sure that your funding is all squared away, because that discipline that you are enacting for yourself is going to be what's going to help you get out of debt if you're in debt, or save for something fantastic that you want to save for if you're not in debt. So like I was saying, so if we make a household goods purchase using our Target Red card, I then am in the negative, so to speak, on that particular account because I've already pulled all of the cash that I'm going to earmark for household goods purchases. So if I have $50 cash in my household goods envelope and I spend $30 on household goods at Target, I have to make sure that I take that $30 that's in the cash envelope back to the bank to pay myself back the debit purchase. And that's where your buffer comes in handy, because obviously if you're like 100% cash puller, you've pulled all of the cash out of your checking account and it's sitting in envelopes in your house. So if you zero out your checking account every single time you cash pull, you can't make those debit card purchases unless you have the buffer. So this is where a lot of people will, like if you're doing the Dave Ramsey snowball method, for example, and you've saved up your $1,000 emergency fund and now you're just putting all of your extra money toward debt, I recommend actually saving up, let's say, $1,000 for your emergency fund and then an extra $150 that you keep in your bank account as a buffer, so that if you do a debit purchase of a category that you typically cash pool for, you've got that money in there that you're treating as petty cash to buffer that expense until you can pay yourself back. So I'm hoping that was a helpful and in-depth explanation for what the buffer is. Now, I'm going to go into the specifics of what our buffer is, because we don't have just an extra $150 sitting in our checking account acting as a buffer. What we do, because we are not 100% cash stuffers, and actually, you know what? Let me grab my budget here so that I can tell you what stays in our checking account. So every single month, whenever we get paid, and my husband is on a biweekly pay schedule and I am on a semi-monthly pay schedule, which means that I get paid twice a month only. I don't ever have like a magic month. So our bills stay in our checking account. So our mortgage stays in our checking account, our water stays in our checking account, life insurance, my husband and son do jujitsu, that stays in the checking account, internet, phone, electric, car insurance, and then all of our debt payments stay in our checking account. Now, what this means for us is that we use our money that we are earmarking for our bills as a buffer. I'm sure that there are people who would advise against this, and maybe I would even advise against this. If you're not a person who is particularly disciplined at tracking your expenses, and also if you're not disciplined at sticking to your budget, I also don't recommend using your bills as a buffer, because what you don't want to do is be shy on your electric bill. So this really is a system. Using your bills money that you have sitting in your account as a buffer is really a system that works only if you are disciplined. And despite the crazy amount of debt that we have, we are actually quite disciplined. So it's never really an issue that we come up against, that we are spending over our budget, and that we need to worry about, oh shoot, now how are we going to pay for our cell phone or whatever. So that's what we do. And so that's why I think sometimes my videos might even be confusing. These check-ins might be confusing for some of you, because we don't even have like a traditional buffer. Like we don't have money just sitting there that exclusively exists just as a buffer. It's only a buffer in that it's money that's hanging out in our checking account, but it also has a purpose. So if you're new to cash stuffing, my recommendation for you would just be to save up an extra $150 to just let it sit in your account, and its express purpose is to just sit there as a buffer to use as petty cash for those times where you can't pay cash for something that you do cash pool for and you need to use your debit card. So now that we've said all of that, I am going to get into our weekly check-in. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So on the 28th, it was Target, and the total purchase was $163.55. Now, if you're new here, let me explain why I didn't fill in the category right here. And this actually helps as far as tracking repayment and things of that nature. So whenever I'm shopping at Target, I almost never am shopping at Target where I'm not dipping into several categories here. There's usually always several categories within one Target purchase. That's just how it works in our lives. So first up in this particular Target purchase was the Target category. And I have explained this before, but just really briefly, since this is kind of like a how-to video, we have a Target line item in our budget that is specific to groceries that we purchase from Target. The vast majority of my grocery shopping is done at Trader Joe's, but I do get some things from Target. And so we have a Target line item that we allot $100 a week for that is just groceries from Target. And so, but this one is not one I cash pool for because we use the Target Red Card, and because the Target Red Card gets you 5% back on every purchase. We just keep that $100 in the bank and we never cash pool for it. But it was $100 from Target. And this was a debit purchase, but it does not need, actually I'll just put D for debit on this one too. It doesn't need to be paid back because Target is exclusively digital. Next up in this same purchase was household. And it was for $4.98. And this one I'm going to put an asterisk next to because this is something I cash pool for, but I used a debit card to purchase it. So I have to pay the bank back, pay myself back. Oh, that's my coffee. So where was I? Yeah, so this is something that I cash pool for, but because I purchased it with my debit card, my bank account is now negative $4. And I mean, it's not actually in the negative because I have that buffer there, but technically I owe myself $4.98 because I pool all of our household money. So there is no money in our checking account that is earmarked for household. It's all in my cash envelopes. So I have to pay the bank back, or myself, $4.98 to compensate for the fact that I made a debit purchase for something that I cash pool for. Also in this transaction was a toiletries category dip, and that was for $17.79. And I'm going to put an asterisk next to that also because it is exclusively cash pooled. I debit purchased it, so I have to pay my bank back $17.79. Last up in this particular transaction was groceries, and that was for $40.78. Now, you may be wondering, okay, Veda, you allot $100 a month for groceries at Target, but then you also have a groceries line item. This groceries line item is what typically funds just our grocery purchases for the week. If ever I go over the $100 we allot for Target in groceries, I just pay back the bank whatever overage on groceries I purchased from Target that's over the $100 that we allot for it a week. This happens somewhat frequently. First, one, because I mean, inflation is real, but also because sometimes Target will be having a sale on certain groceries that will be cheaper than what I can get them at Trader Joe's. And so then I will go ahead and just go purchase whatever that is from Target. And so that's why I'll have like an overage, overage and groceries from Target. I hope that makes sense. So, but I also have to pay the bank back that as well. So that gets an asterisk. Okay. And that was the end of that particular Target transaction. Next up on the same day, because I am completely incapable of going to Target without getting myself a coffee, I popped into Starbucks and spent $10 refilling my card. So I have like the Starbucks app, and then if you refill it, or you can like accrue points and stuff. I don't feel like this is news to anybody, so maybe I don't even need to be explaining that. But we actually broke this down into 2 different categories. We did hers and miscellaneous, because I'm not the only person who benefits from my from my Starbucks purchases. Like, we'll sometimes get the kids a snack there, or my husband will also get some coffee from Starbucks. And so we decided to split this up and pull 5 from me, which I have to cash pool, and then 5 from our miscellaneous fund. I probably could have pulled this from, I don't know, like eating out or family fund, but we stuck it in miscellaneous. It's largely irrelevant at this point, but because these were debit purchases, I have to pull from each of these cash envelopes to pay the bank back. Next up was a cash purchase. So I'm also putting my cash purchases on here so that you guys can see how this tracking works, because I have this same sheet and a budget binder, and it is how we are keeping track of every expense we make, whether it's digital or cash, so that we are always aware of how much money we have in each category. And so this happened on the 4th, and it was my husband's haircut. So I'll just put his haircut. And we have a category for this. It's just haircuts. And including tip, excuse me, it was $55. I remember, look, I'm gonna totally age myself here, but I remember when you could get like a kid's men's haircut for like 25 or 30 bucks. It's absolutely crazy to me that it's 55 with tip, but he does give a great haircut. I just miss living near my cousin, who is a hairdresser. Excuse me. And she gives she gives a great woman's cut too, but she gives an amazing men's cut. And of course we would always get a family discount from her. So anyway, I don't need to put an asterisk next to this one because it was a cash purchase. So that, like, the asterisks, I'm not paying my bank back because we just paid in cash. Next up was on the 5th, and I am going to write, this was a cash purchase too. I'm going to write just coffee here because I don't know if this coffee shop that I purchased from, I know they have multiple locations, but I don't know if it's exclusive to the area that I live in, and I don't want to out where I live. So, I mean, I've mentioned that I live in Texas, but I don't think we need to get into the specifics of where I live. That could be scary. So I purchased coffee for all of my coworkers on Sunday. So this came out of my envelope, and it was $20. And I also don't need to pay this back to the bank because I paid with cash. Next up was on the 5th, and this was a debit purchase, and this was at Amazon. And guys, okay, don't judge me, but I have seen, maybe you guys have too, those like on all the like Amazon influencers on Instagram, that little AirPods cleaner, like the little, I don't know, it comes in like a little case. I mean, it's like small, probably like the size of like tweezers. And it comes in like a little tube case, but you can like clean your AirPods really well with this thing. And I was like, I need that. So I purchased it, and this comes from Miscellaneous, and it was, let's see, $9.24. And I do need to pay the bank back for that purchase. Next up, that was on the same day. I'm just gonna write museum. I work at a museum. I think I've mentioned this before. And I found, excuse me, goodness gracious. There was a product that we sell in our gift shop that I wanted to buy for all of my family members and for Christmas this year. So because we've been funding Christmas, there was the money there to do it, but I did it on my debit card because we were running out of this particular item and we only had enough of them left for all of the people in my family that I wanted to buy them for. And so rather than waiting until the next day and potentially losing out on the opportunity to buy it for everybody, I swiped my card, and then now I'm just gonna pay the account back for that. But otherwise I would have brought cash in and just paid cash. But it didn't work out that way this particular time. So it was $46.76, and God bless the employee discount, am I right? So this one I have to pay back. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to that. Next up was from this week, and this was a cash purchase, so we don't have to pay it back. And it was on the 6th, and it was at Trader Joe's. And comes from grocery, and it was $250. Obviously, purchases never come out that clean, but I'm doing the $1 savings challenge, and so according to just the way that it works out, I am out $250 now, because that's what I handed them, and they gave me change back, and I don't count the change because I'm doing the $1 savings challenge. Anyway, that was really wordy, but forgive me. And then last up, so this was a debit card purchase. This was also on the 6th, and it was at Target, and we all know it's gonna be multiple categories, but the total purchase was $250.85. So of course we have our typical Target line item, and that is for $100. And this one I don't have to pay back because that stays in the bank. Next up was grocery. We went over, because typically I buy all my kids' fruit from Trader Joe's, but all of their organic produce was 20% off this week. So I got all of the produce from Target instead of Trader Joe's. So we had an overage of $37.26. And I will have to pay that back to the bank. Next up was household. And I only needed OxyClean, but then I was like, you know what? We're almost out of like saran wrap. We're almost out of, there were just a couple things, and I was like, I'm here. So I'll just pick up these household goods that I'm gonna need eventually in the next couple of weeks. So may as well just do it. And so that was for $43.59. And then last up was Easter, and it was for $70. Now, obviously we never come out in whole numbers in these situations, but because I used the red card and because I had a crap ton of coupons and discounts and all that kind of stuff, I do the math on the receipt, figuring out what I owe in each category, and then I'll apply the discount money or the cashback money to the different categories to just bring them down to whole numbers if I can. So that's why you'll see Target will always be $100, because I always get a discount. And so I always apply the discount to make sure that it comes out to the whole $100. Oh, but I need an asterisk next to both of these because I do have to pay these back. All right, so this is all the expenses that happened in the last week. And we have to cash pull from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 different things that we have to actually unstuff from our cash envelopes and pay the bank back. So let's get into that. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna grab my calculator, and here's another thing that I'm going to have to jump into a little explanation for. Just, how did I get, who even knows? Anyway, I'm gonna jump into an explanation here for how we do this so that you can understand. I just don't wanna leave any stone unturned when it comes to explaining what we do. So, you'll notice here for household, the very first thing that I have to pull is $4.98. We always round this up to a whole number because I don't keep change. Any coins we get back from cash purchases, we put in our coin jar. Excuse me, as you've seen in all of my cash stuffing videos. And then if we ever make digital purchases that have change as well, my husband tracks what we call the virtual coin jar. And that is just money change that we sweep into there because we round up to the whole dollar as far as that is concerned too. And that's relevant here because I'm taking, so this was a $4.98 debit card purchase. I'm going to be taking $5 to the bank. My husband will track that 2 cents and put it in his virtual coin jar so he knows how much change we save from each of these debit purchases. We literally track our finances to the cent. Now, do you have to do that? No. Do we? Yes, because we're big budget nerds. But I don't want you to be like, okay, well, why? What do you do about the 2 cents? Or what do you do about, I can't do fast math. 30, no, that's not right. 24 cents here for Christmas. All of that money, all of the change overage from when I pay the bank back, my husband tracks all of that because we're big nerds. But you would be surprised how quickly this change adds up, guys. So do it, especially if you're doing it this way. Really the best way to do it is with whole dollars anyway, unless you're gonna go digging coins out of your coin jar and paying exact money back to the bank, which feel free to do that if you want to. We just find this is easier to do. So that being said, while I'm going down and adding up all of the money that I need to put in my cash tray here, I'm gonna be rounding up to whole dollars. So let me do that really quickly. I'm probably gonna time lapse you guys through this. Okay, so I am gonna be pulling $283 from all of my cash envelopes here. So first up, I'm gonna move my calculator off to the side, and I'm gonna move this off to the side, and I'm making sure that you guys can see. Okay, so first I'm just gonna go in order. So first up, I'm pulling from household, and because I know I have a couple household purchases here, so let me just make sure. So it looks like we have 2. So this is gonna be $44, and this is going to be $5. So I'm going to need a total of, let me just make sure, hold on. 5, I don't have any other household, right? No. So 5 and 44 is 49 out of household. Let me make sure you guys, no, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so medical, car, maintenance, household, here we go. So I need to pull $49 out of household. So 20, 30, 40, 5, 46, 47, 48, 49. And this is why I mentioned in my what I've learned so far video to make sure that you're cash stuffing small denominations so that you can make change like this. And you're not like, oh, I only have 5s, I don't have any 1s. because especially in revolving envelopes or revolving cash purchase envelopes like household and toiletries and groceries, you're gonna need smaller bills because you're gonna have weird numbers. 49 is a weird number. So 20, 30, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. So I will go ahead and put that in here. All right. And then what I'm gonna do is just put a check mark next to household, indicating that I've already reconciled these purchases and the money is sitting in the cash tray. Next up is also in this binder. By the way, these are my new dashboards that I created, and these are for sure going to be in my Etsy shop when I launch it. So stay tuned for that. More information will be coming on this later. Okay, here we go. Back to toiletries, and I just want to make sure. Okay, there's just only one toiletry, and it was $17.79, so I'm pulling $18. Oh, it got stuck. Toiletries, $18. Now, you know what? I am gonna do a 10, 5, and 5 ones because we can get rid of some of these ones that are in here because my binders are getting a little hefty here. And rather than waiting on a cash condensing, which we will be doing, I will just use these small denominations. That's what they're here for. So toiletries, again, I needed 18, so 10, 5, 16, 17, or 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and then I will put a little check mark next to this to indicate that that's already been reconciled. Groceries is next up, and grocery, hold on, I know I had more than one. Here we go. So we've got 38 and 41. So that's going to be 38, 41, 79. Right? Yes, we can check my math, but I'm pretty sure. So let's go. Okay, so this is where I don't have ones, but that's okay. So 50, 70, 80. And then, no. The 50 will go there, 50, 75, 80. And because I was supposed to pay 79, I take $1 change back. This is why we love our small denominations. And so we are left with 50, 75, 85, 95 in groceries. And I will go ahead and put a check mark next to our grocery expenses that we put an asterisk next to. Okay. I think that is it from our high priority sinking fund. So I'll just move this off to the side. And then we've got, we'll go right into low priority. And I am having to pay back twice, I think. Yeah. So 25. Oh, wait. Hold on, let me double check. No, this one I paid cash. So look, I'm glad I checked that. So I just only need to pull $5 from my own envelope. Is hers. Here we go. I thought I could just easily find a 5. There we go. So $5 from my envelope. And I will check that off. And then from miscellaneous, I know we had 2 different, so 5 and 10. Well, that's a nice whole number. Here we go, miscellaneous. So I need 15. So I'll put in 20 and pull back a 5. So now we have 15 left in miscellaneous. And I will check off both of those miscellaneous purchases. So this one, where'd he go? And this one. Okay. Next up, because that does it for our low priority. And then last up, we're just going to be dipping into our holiday sinking funds. So first up will be Easter, even though I did the Christmas purchase first, but it's fine. Vacation, no, I passed it. Easter, here we go. So it was 70 bucks from here. And, oh, that's nice and easy. So a 20 and a 50, 70 bucks. And we have $21 left in Easter. And I'm thinking I might buy my daughter a little dress and my son a little shirt, but we'll see. And I'm not gonna do like a frilly Easter dress that she's only gonna be able to wear at Easter. I'll make sure that it's something she can wear throughout the season, because I do not like singular purpose clothing, especially with kids who grow out of stuff so fast. So I'll move this off to the side and then check off my Easter expense. And then last but not least, we have the Christmas expense, and that was $46.76. So I'm gonna just pay back $47 from Christmas. And we're probably gonna need to make change here. 40, oh, you know what? No, 20, 40, 5, 46, 47. Perfect. Love it when it works out like that. Let's see. Put our ones here, 5 and 20s. And so we will cross off or put a check mark next to the Christmas purchase. And then I'm just gonna run down and make sure that I have a check mark next to every single asterisk that I made. And I do. So what we're gonna do is count our cash and make sure that it adds up to the 283 that we figured out earlier. So let's just grab it here. Okay, let's give her a count. 51, 20, 40, 60, 82, 210, 20, 30, 40, 55, 65, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, and 83. So that is $283 that is going back to the bank from debit card purchases that we made that we cash stuff for. So I hope that you guys found this explanation helpful. I hope that I didn't further confuse you if you were confused to begin with. And please, please don't ever hesitate to ask me questions in the comments. I always try to answer every single comment that I get because I love building the community with you guys here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope again that you found this explanation helpful. Please give my video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And then I will see you guys next week. And you might want to tune into that one because we've got a special little thing coming up in Monday's cash stuffing. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.